that all right?
Hang on just a second. Make sure everybody understands that there is your budget workshop papers are in your board packet for Thursday night, but you've got those sheets, so you may want to get those if you don't have them as they go through it.
Yep, got it.
Just in
We're on.
Okay, we're going to call to order the budget workshop meeting of the Board of Trustees. And the first item on the agenda is the budget workshop. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. James and Marty and let them give us their presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. We've put together a presentation that we will put on the screen. It's an addendum to the information that you have that will give you a little bit more idea to the inside of the budget, hopefully answer any questions that you might have. I'm going to ask Lex to pull that up, and I think once we do that, that you will hear us but not see us. So if you have questions, you can just stop us in the middle of it. But can you see the whole screen?
No, it's cut off.
How about now?
Now we can see the whole screen, and we can still see you, Dr. James.
Oh, well, good. I can't see you, but anyway, I'm glad you let me know you can see me. When we're starting to look at our budget, we want to give you some information about how we came about with this budget. And there are two things that I'd ask you to keep in mind before we even get to the updates for 2020, 2021. We are not shifting our focus from where we have been for the last 5 years on where we're going with our goals. We're staying right on track with that. That ties in very nicely with the 2030 plan. And then in addition to that, Marty and I have spent a lot of time thinking about 2021, 2022, because the last thing that we want to do is end up with funding cliff kinds of mentality in a year out. But the updates that the board needs to be aware of right now, the General Assembly has passed a continuing resolution to maintain the state budget at the 2019-2020 level. Their plan, as we understand it, is to come. Thank you. Their plan, as we understand it, is to come back in September to adopt a budget. That may or may not happen. Currently, there's no change in the state minimum salary scale for teachers, and there is no step increase. Additionally, the 1% retirement that we were going to have to pay as the employer contribution has been suspended. So that kind of keeps us within the range of the revenue that we had and the expenditures. Our budget assumptions are based on a long-term plan. We're trying to maximize the efficiency in personnel. We talked about that a lot last year in getting the right number of people for the right size school and the number of adults per children and that sort of thing. We want to make sure that we end up with an instructional budget that's based on the funds that we have. First of all, salaries are frozen, step increases stay at 2019-2020 level across the state of South Carolina, not just in Lexington too. The 1% for employer retirement is suspended. We have maximum flexibility from the state, and we talked about this with the board as far as carry forward. Matter of fact, Mr. Summers called today about the Title I, which is not part of the general fund budget, but even the feds have given flexibility in the carry forward and not holding that to 15%. Right now, we are scheduled to receive $2.17 million in CARES Act funding. That's federal funds based on the coronavirus epidemic and all that is going on with that. We want to maximize those funds prepared for the 21-22 budget. We'll use some of it in this year's budget, but again, one of the things that Marty and I feel like is vital is that we plan a year out so that this board does not fall into a situation you have an extremely lean budget year and no way to make it up. The fifth assumption is we're deferring a payment of FICA. That's 6.2% from April through December. That's allowed by the CARES Act. It sits in a holding account. But should we have an unexpected cash flow problem, that money is there. We don't anticipate it. I'll tell you, I talked to Mr. Summers today. I told him we've got a good budget. I don't think that we could have come up with a better one, but there's another net right there in the fact that we're holding money that could be an answer to a cash flow problem. Our millage for this budget that we're about to show you is calculated on the rollback amount of $145.12 million. We have look-back millage available. What we're proposing is that the board maintain $150.72 million. That's what it is now. We're 100 mil below our closest district in the Midlands at that rate, and we would not just recommend but strongly urge the board to set that millage rate using our available look-back millage. That gives us $1 million that is not represented in this budget. The thing that $1 million does is it provides us an opportunity to add money to school funding. It has an opportunity to make up if the General Assembly provides raises in the budget in September. Any shortfall that might come, that $1 million is kind of a place for us to go, and the money is already there. So we can't stress enough how this budget that you're going to see is balanced at $85,774,000, I think it is, or thereabout. But raising that extra $1 million not in the budget is going to be beneficial in the long run. We basically,
Bill, can I answer your question?
certainly.
I know several years ago we did something similar. I can't remember whether you were the superintendent or whether that was prior, but we budgeted like this $1 million is budgeted like it's a contingency. Basically, it's in the budget, but it's not being. There's no earmark for it.
That's right.
Not to be used for anything, and that's the way I'm understanding you saying this.
That's exactly what we're doing. And yes, sir, we did that several budgets ago, and the whole course of action is as we go through this. When I came here, we started a formula to fund schools. So each school would have money, and there would be equal based on the number of kids in the school. And this year, as we get on into the budget, I'm going to show you, we're going to load in half of that. But this $1 million gives us the opportunity, if there needs at the school level, if the General Assembly comes back and says we're going to give teachers a raise, or if they say you're going to have to pay the 1%, there's no earmark for this. This will be in a holding account that will help us. If we don't use it, Mr. Bingham, what Marty and I have planned is it's the seed money for the 21-22 budget, because belief and Marty's belief is the fact that this will not be the most difficult budget. Next year's budget will be more difficult than this one. So we're looking at ways that carry over, and this would be one of them.
Mr. Bingham, I want to make sure you understand also that $1 million is not included in the revenue that you have in that separate document that was in your board packet. So that billion is not part of the $85,773,168.
And it would be in a line item that couldn't be used unless you come back to the board to get approval to use that out of that $1 million.
Exactly. It would be excess revenue that we would have to come back to you to get approval to spend.
Okay. Our state funding number is based on the 135-day count for the 2019-2020 school year. We're loading school allocations at 50% of last year, and then once we will do a check September 30th, which is the end of the first fiscal quarter, and December 31st, which would be the mid-year point, and we'll add in on that. But schools won't start out with the full amount loaded in there. We'll give quarterly updates to the board again. September 30th is going to be a real important benchmark to look at, as is December the 30th. This is our allocation funding model. It's not anything new to the board. We started this 3-4 years ago. That basically what we do is we give schools money that they can use in their school at their discretion based on the number of children that they have in the school and based on categories that would need higher funding, like academic assistance, pupils in property, ESOL, GT, dual credit, and then add in things so that the schools don't necessarily have to make that money up. Graduation supplies, non-revenue athletics, athletic training, that has become a major fund that we're paying for out of the district office. Then we told you in our long range plan that we wanted to be able to start replacing band uniforms, and on regular years we put in $5,000, and every third year we put in $10,000 to help the bands. Money into culinary arts for the fact that they buy a lot of food and don't generate a lot of money. Cosmetology, we're keeping those kids from having to pay for their kits and all of the things that go along with it. So it opens it up not just to kids that have the money for the materials, but for everybody. ROTC travel, and then the Magnet Art program. And our contention is that we will continue to do just on this same formula, except loaded in a half and then probably a quarter and a quarter. Our estimated revenues, and I'll let Marty talk to you a little bit about that. Our local revenues, we're looking at $32 million, a little over $32 million, a little over $50 million per state. The local revenue includes the fee in lieu of taxes. Our total revenue expectation is $85,773,168. If you've got questions about the individual categories of the estimated revenue, Marty gave you a sheet in your packet that details each area, or we can talk to you about it if the board has questions. Okay. Our estimated general fund expenditures, we're right at that prime formula. I've been telling this board since I came here, I'd like for us to get below 85, but most people think that 85% for salary and fringe is a good number, and 15% for programs and operations. That's a little better than the norm. I'd love to tell you that we were going to get down to 82 or 80. We aren't. We're dead at 85 and 15, and that's a good number. It's the same number we were at last year. The good thing about it is it says we got our FTEs about to the point that they should be. And so you can see how that breaks out. $72,900,000 in salary and fringe, $12,873,000 for programs and operations. Total expenditures anticipated for the 21 budget would be $85,773,168. Most of you have seen this slide before. Mr. Rucker hasn't seen it, Mr. Summers hasn't seen it, but it's the same thing that we have put in our board workshop package every year. The Educational Finance Act is a formula that adjusts how much the school district gets from local and how much that they get from the state, and it's set by the General Assembly. We don't have anything to do with it. But the index of taxpaying ability is just a way to make up for when you have districts that are extremely affluent and districts that are not very affluent. The non-affluent districts would get more state revenue and less local because of the ability of the local to be able to pay. More affluent local areas would pay more money and you would get less state revenue. But again, that's the biggest variable in the Educational Finance Act, and that determines which districts get how much money and where the money actually comes from. If you look, the school district millage rate with the reassessment millage with the legislatively imposed cap, we would end up with $27,796,646. The value of a meal would be $199,523. $5,223,424. And we're figuring on a 96% collection rate, which is what we have figured in the past years, and that's been a good number for us. That's if we don't use the 150 number. That's the rollback millage being 145.12. Total meals with the cap 145.12. Value of a meal 199,523.
Bill, I would anticipate this year, given the economic circumstances, that probably we won't probably collect quite as high a percentage. We're going to probably have more in that category that don't pay their taxes this year because they don't have the money.
Well, we talked about that, and what we're hoping for is that it won't be a bigger number than the 4% of not paying, but it'll be more of a delayed number. You could be right. It could happen that way. And again, that's another big good reason for making sure that we set the millage rate at 150.72, because that would make up for a shortfall in collection rate. But that's a possibility.
Yeah, the collection rate may go up like a year from now, because if they don't pay, it will take the county at least a year to put them up on the auction block and sell the property and all that.
Correct.
You eventually might get the money, but it might take some time for that to happen.
And
this could be the anomaly in this one time span where over this short period we just don't get that we're a little short on the revenue.
And that's exactly right. And that's why having that 150.72 that's another reason that's a good number, because that $1 million that Marty would put in a holding account, the board could use that cash flow until that year, because you're right, people would not allow their property to be sold, but they may delay paying their taxes. So we may get it. It just may take 6 months, a year, 18 months to get it. So if we're prepared for looking at 2 years rather than just 1 year, that helps us.
One thing I want to point out, the estimated assessed value at the $199 million, I took the conservative number there. That is the amount that they estimate after appeals. So the estimated value is a bit higher right now, but in the fact that we're in a reassessment and they are hearing appeals, I took the lowest number possible for assessed value. It could be higher than that. That was just an estimate.
All of this budget is built on the most conservative outlook. Again, like we're telling you, the $85 million number is based on 145.12 mils. Now we're asking for the 150, but we aren't plugging that in. If you look at the 150, that gives us 3.7 mils that are allowable for an increase. 199, 523, 424 is still the value of a mil. We're still looking at 96% collection rate. The biggest difference in this slide and the previous slide is if we set the millage rate where it is today rather than in the rollback millage, that gives the board $1 million that is not earmarked into this budget that you can use in shortfall situations. And that's certainly our recommendation, because there are opportunities out there with collection rates, with the fact that we don't know what the General Assembly will do in terms of raises, that we don't know what will happen in terms of retirement, those sorts of things. The board having this money not earmarked is a big, prudent piece of looking at 2 years worth of budget.
Wanted to point out also the 5.6 mils in the look back village is not us using everything that we have available to use. That is all that is required for us to get back to the current millage rate.
Yeah, that was another piece. We do have more look back mills, but we didn't want to raise the rate. We were just looking at how do we stay at 150, 172. You do have other mills for look back, but we think this budget right here is plenty conservative enough, and it wouldn't be something that the board would have to take advantage of. Sustainability and growth. It's like I told you when we started, we aren't shifting our focus or goal whatsoever. We want to be able to sustain good teacher-pupil ratios. We want to be able to continue funding our programs, supplementing extracurricular, co-curricular programs, and attract and retain good quality folks. We want to maximize the use of that $2.17 million in CARES funding. Our plan talks about technology, safety, cleaning, all of those things. We want to continue to enhance the e-learning. The e-learning has set us apart in this state. We've had, as a matter of fact, Dixon got a call from Arkansas, from the school district in Arkansas, about how we do this. We've had calls from bigger districts, wealthier districts about doing this. And you know, it started in 2015 when the board spent $9 million to put computers in every kid's hand, and it's grown, and we want to continue to do that. What we would like to do is expand it to the point that we have enhanced virtual lessons, but we'd like to look at what does it look like in lieu of expulsion. When we expel a child, can we expel a child from the social aspect of school, but hold them accountable for the learning and still continue to stay on track for graduation? What does it look like when you have a child that is long-term ill, their out days? We can still use this virtual learning. Eventually, we would like to put up a virtual library where kids have sections of some material that they don't understand. They can pull that down. I gave the example, I was a biology teacher. If you don't understand mitosis, you don't need to hear me talk for an hour about something else. Pull down a virtual lesson that just deals with that 15 minutes of mitosis. So our e-learning is real important to where we want to go as a district. And our next step is to make sure that we're getting devices at home for first and second graders so they don't have to deal with paper pencil packs. Look at the idea of using MiFi where you have families that don't have connectivity, and maybe some virtual courses like government economics. That was the fly in the ointment this year for most districts, in the fact that those are semester courses. We'd like to expand our virtual Spanish class. That kind of got derailed a little bit when we shut down. We were doing well. Had one person from every school. Ms. Rucker asked about could we expand that to everybody. What we'd like to do is be able to teach it virtually to whatever employee would like to do it. Then for school employees, if they become proficient at any level of instruction, we pay them a stipend of $250. Long term, not this year, but a long term growth plan. I think that what we'd like to do is look at a revenue neutral employee daycare service. If we can put something like that in that doesn't cost the district, and revenue neutral, then we're more apt to attract young teachers that will stay and are good people. And so we like to do that. And then add in additional funding for non-traditional graduation. We don't know that graduation hasn't changed with this. We can't say that we won't face this same problem next year. We're putting the $9,000 that we normally put in for face-to-face graduation, but we're going to have to put in other funds to make sure that if a crisis like this happens again, we'll be able to at least do similar to what we've done this year. Our comprehensive plan summary is we've got a lot of momentum coming out of this building program. That $225 million that passed in 2014 has turned into $240 million. There's been a lot of savings on property, a lot of savings on building. We've created a model of e-learning that people are calling not just from districts within the state, but like I said, as far away as Arkansas. We want to be able to create an instructional program that enhances learning and gives kids choices. Assistant Secretary or Deputy Secretary of Education, Nick Sayce, came here and visited BC and the Innovation Center, and the choices in this district are the things that he wrote back about, and how we give kids more choices than he had seen in lots of other public school settings. We're in a competitive environment. Mr. Summers asked about what was going on with the high school league lawsuit and about the schools that are involved in that, but it's not just athletics. It's a competitive environment academically, and we don't want to remain in the status quo. We want to continue to embrace all these innovative plans that we've put in place. We're setting a standard in this district. We think it separates us. Our goal is position Lex2 to be a choice for families. I'm going to talk about the idea of school choice. We've got more and more people who are coming to work here who choose to bring their children here, and that's a positive sign. And then we're going to continue to detail our proposal for a long-term plan, the 2030 plan, the comprehensive plan that we have for finance, and a sustainable plan for the future for the board. That's our overall presentation. I'll be glad to answer any questions. Marty will be glad to answer any questions. We'll tell you anything that we can that you have general concerns about. But this is the budget that we plan to present to the board on Thursday night for the first approval.
Anybody have questions?
Yes. Hey, could I get a copy, Bill? It was a very good program, but with what you amended, what y'all added in there, your verbiage that you had as far as your plans, it was a lot of good information, but that's not in what you had what had been provided.
No, that's a PowerPoint just for this presentation, but we'll email it to the entire board.
Thank you. I was trying to write it down, but give me a copy of it, that'd help me.
It's a lot of information, Mr. Summers. We'll just email it.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Bingham, if there are no board questions, that's our presentation. Like I said, we will present a balanced budget at $85,773,168.
Well, I guess what I want to try to do is make sure that all board members, if they don't have any questions, or is everybody, we're not going to vote on it tonight because our vote on the first reading of the budget is Thursday. But at least are we headed in the right direction with the budget? We need to give them some guidance if we want something changed. So when we vote Thursday night, we'd be voting on what we want to change, if anything. If we're good with the millage the way they're proposing, then at least if we can get affirmation that everybody's fine with that, and that we're going to earmark that $1 million for potential future need. I think that's one of the big issues. We've got to get past that, make sure everybody's on board with that. Any comments? Everybody's good with that? I'm not hearing anything, so.
I mean, I agree with Bud. I really would like to have that PowerPoint in front of me to look at that additionally. I mean, I may have some more questions, but I certainly don't mind calling Dr. Bill directly if I have an individual question. But overall, the plan sounds good. But, you know, like I said, I was like Bud, I was flipping back and forth between emails in the packet to find what your presentation was. I think I just like to have that visually in front of me because I could not see it as well on the screen.
Yeah, in your board packet for Thursday night, there's a section there entitled, there's about 8 sheets there, and it's not the presentation, doesn't have all the pros written out, but it's all the numbers that he put up on that PowerPoint. That's where they're showing that the general fund revenue would be the $85,773,000.
We will send that out. Ms. Branham, we were working on this PowerPoint right before we were live to you all. So, but we'll send that out. Matter of fact, Marty will send it to you now. Coming to an email near you.
Okay, so are we good then to move on? Everybody's, no further questions? All right, well, Kevin, I'm going to leave it to you to take us to executive session. Can't hear you.
Let me turn myself on there. All right, here we go. Mr. Chair, make a motion that the Board of Trustees enter into a closed session to discuss the following matters: to receive legal advice and discussion of property matters.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Hey, Bill, I second, but I'd like to know, is this a separate, I'm looking for the dial-in here. Is this, do we stay on this same?
No, there's another one you're going to enter in the same code, but it's got an X3 on the back end.
That's why I couldn't find.
Who we missing? Who did we miss? Bud and Linda.
Looks like we got all the board members back. All right. With that, Kevin, I'll entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
All right, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that the meeting be reconvened in open session.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Kessler. All in favor, raise your hand. All right, we're now in open session. I don't think we have any motions before the board as a result of discussions in executive session. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Wooten. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay, we'll see you on Thursday evening at 7 o'clock.